Your guy is nice.
Dolphins head to the cold Kansas City winter. Reports are, Greg, this could be the coldest game in NFL history.
Flip-flop.
Yeah. Here's Andy Reid and Tua.
Now you won't do it.
I just say, get ready for the game. Let's do that. I don't really care what goes on out here. We're not having a snowball fight.
It's just a feel of how everything is. What the ball feels like, what throwing feels like, what holding the ball feels like. If there's wind, if there's not wind, you have to take all those things into consideration.
Okay, Greg, this seems to be a huge advantage for Kansas City. Are you sure you want to stick with your Dolphins pick?
No. Look, who's a better running team? Oh, it's the Dolphins. Yes, I'm sticking with the Dolphins. I'm sticking with the Dolphins.
Okay.
That's the only thing you got? They're better.
I thought you were going to rip off several things.
No, just relax.
Because the teams are bad at running the football.
Everyone wants to talk about the cold and the elements. Well, both teams have to play in it, and nobody really loves to play in the cold. So here we go.
Do you
Let's
get
play
used
football.
to it? Like you were in Green Bay.
You learn to tolerate it. You don't ever quite get used to it. You learn to tolerate it. But what really quick, what Tua's talking about the feel, that is important.
Nice.
Because when your hands are cold and you're trying to hold on to the ball, you can't really feel it. So if somebody comes and they hit the ball, you're more susceptible to fumbles and different things like that. But the cold is what it is.
Cold, though, Greg.
Why I still like the Dolphins? Vic Fangio. He understands what this outfit wants to do. He's given Patrick Mahomes fits, albeit not wins in those fits, but he understands and he has the attention of a quarterback that really lights everybody up, except Vic Fangio. Why I like this team is because of something that we don't talk about, and I mentioned it when I first started. They can run the ball. Right. If you can run the ball against this outfit in this type of weather and establish who has control of the trenches, that's the team that's going to win this game.
Yeah. Okay. So the Dolphins are going to win because they're going to run the ball so much. I'll believe it when I see it. I know they can. They're effective running the ball typically because they're in light boxes because everyone's terrified of Tyreek Hill. But that's not going to be the case in this game.
I mean, that's a fair
And listen, a very odd thing happened in this year's playoffs. Maybe it'll sustain, maybe not. The NFC, it's dome and warm weather teams. It's San Francisco, Los Angeles, Detroit, Dallas, Tampa, those are either warm weather cities or domes. The AFC, Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City, Cleveland. These are out, and those are where the games are going to be played, except for Houston. But Houston, this is the only home game that they can host in the postseason. And the Chiefs, maybe by accident, but you know what they built? A team built for January football. Not a high-flying, high-scoring, pretty breakdancing team.
What a take.
But am I right or wrong?
You're right.
They have the number 2 scoring defense. They have as strong of an interior part of the offensive line as there is. A running back.
I'm glad you said interior offensive line.
Well, that's what we're going to be running. A lot of duo right up the middle of the soft Miami front. And by the way, to quote, if I may, Marshawn Lynch, a running back that just wants to run through somebody's face. Misquote Marshawn Lynch. And so for all those reasons, and a quarterback who in his first game ever in the snow said, and I quote, I think I'm a snow game guy, while he was dropping 30 on the Broncos. So, yeah.
Snow and cold, two totally different games.
I get it. And it's going to be cold and snow. And you know what is not comfortable for Tua Tagovailoa? Either of the above. Now, to be fair, Brew, they did put the Dolphins practice facility down to 50 degrees,
Greg,
which should prepare them for this.
First of all, they should have went there. They should go there and get used to the cold.
Kansas City wouldn't. No one would rent them the practice facilities. No one would give them the room. They're not doing it.
I thought turning the AC up in their facility was just, I wouldn't have told anyone that. They've been in a cold movie theater. Like a summertime movie theater?
Look,
chilly. Bring a blanket.
Go ahead, Bruce.
One place you don't break dance is outside in the cold.
That's right.
And look, I would love it if you were right.
Why?
Just because of you, really.
What?
As much as I love Mahomes, because of you. No, but I think the injuries, too, to that defense in Miami. Vic's got to deal with that.
And the best part is, Greg's going to be...
Headline sponsored by Dots Pretzels. They are sensationally seasoned pretzels. It's a sad day here on First Things First. Turns out, the greatest coach of all time, and my favorite coach, Bill Belichick, is now leaving America's team the New England Patriots. Is there a chance, however, Brew, that he ends up on what most people think is America's team, the Dallas Cowboys?
I don't think it's a very good chance. Obviously, if they were to lose to Green Bay, then maybe they get rid of McCarthy and go after Belichick, which would be smart. I just don't like the Jerry Jones-Belichick fit. I think Jones would drive him crazy with those weekly press conferences and talking after every game. So I don't see it as a great fit.
Yeah, the obvious reasons is that, okay, if they lose to the Green Bay Packers in the first round, that's not going to happen. So I don't see it happening, but would it be a great fit? I think it would be a great fit because I believe Jerry Jones would allow him to do whatever he needed to do, would afford him whatever he needed. Obviously, the roster is full of talent. They would definitely increase their chances of getting where they want to be if they don't get it done this year.
Also, while I don't think, listen, I don't think the Cowboys' job is going to come open. If it were to come open, that should be the job Belichick wants more than any job, and he should be the coach that they want more than any other coach.
And now, is that because it's Dallas and you want the Cowboys?
It's because I think of all the jobs that could come open, it has the most talent by far.
Yep.
I think it has the best quarterback of any of the jobs by a significant margin over everyone other than Herbert, and I actually think Dak is better than Herbert, and so by a slight margin, but slightly better.
Totally fair.
And Bill Parcells worked for Jerry Jones.
Correct.
And so for a short term, I think it could work. And I don't think Belichick's trying to coach another 10 years. I think he wants to have 3 good years, reach a Super Bowl, and break the record.
Belichick and Micah Parsons. So, want to hear some Lawrence Taylor stories? oh, Micah, imagine Micah to another level. Woo.
Belichick on the podcast with him?
Oh, great.
Man.
Does Mike even still have a podcast?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Belichick's
Excellent.
Oh,
Belichick's
Belichick's
there?
still there?
Oh, yeah. Oh, he loves new media. Chargers, franchise quarterback, bad defense, not a great cap situation, and no home field advantage.
Yeah.
Is Belichick the answer for Justin Herbert and the team?
Look, if they hired Belichick, I would salute it. I'd rather have Jim Harbaugh, but Belichick would make that defense good. And Herbert is great in his own right. I don't really like Belichick with him, but I would take it. And I think they'd get a home field advantage with Belichick. I think the fans would start supporting him with Belichick.
California.
I wanted to look at a different angle with this. I think this would be a good fit, and I think this would be a franchise that would possibly allow him to entertain wearing both hats again.
I don't like that.
I know we don't like
that,
it,
though.
but if that's what he still wants to do, they are so desperate for something. Let him be general manager. You already have pretty much the pieces. You got your quarterback, so you know you're not going to have an issue with him trying to find a quarterback.
Yep.
You got receivers. You're not going to have an issue
Got the
there.
5th pick of the draft where you
You
can
got the
trade
5th
down
pick.
and add other picks.
If that's what he wants, okay, this is an opportunity that I think he would take advantage of.
Okay, so if the Chargers were looking to hire an older coach who would help their home field advantage, the answer to that is Pete Carroll, who is a legend in Southern California, and you would have all the USC fans there. I wouldn't hire either, because if I'm the Chargers, the last thing I'm doing is guaranteeing that Justin Herbert, in his prime, is going to go through another coaching change in a few years. So I want to. That's why Jim Harbaugh should be a target for them, or one of these young offensive coordinator minds is someone who has a chance to be there a decade. He already went through Anthony Lynn, then Brandon Staley, multiple offensive coordinators. Then Belichick comes in, and even if you have success, then he's out the door, and Herbert's doing it again. So I don't think it would make sense for the Chargers.
Okay.
And does Belichick want to go to the AFC West?
Correct. He does not. And finally, when Brady was looking for a new team, all of a sudden it was, hold on, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Where he's like, yeah, I think I can win with them. So, Brew, mystery team. Every team is on the board besides the Patriots probably. What mystery team would you like?
Well, look, this team, before the season started, was S-Bob. All right, Super Bowl or bust. And that was the coach saying it. It wasn't just Chris Broussard up here saying it. The coach was saying it.
Did he say S-Bob?
Well, he put a big Lombardi Trophy banner in the practice facility. That means Super Bowl or bust, guys. If it ends, and now expectations have dropped because of the way the season went.
Still got
but it
best
shouldn't
Super
be.
Bowl
It
odds.
should be Super Bowl or bust. And if they go out early, they still are S-Bob, but it's Super Bowl or Bill. So I'm going with Buffalo. Mystery team, Buffalo. Oh, I love him up in Buffalo. Upstate New York. Yeah.
Well done.
That's what I like.
So for me, I didn't want to go with an obvious team, so I'll go over to the NFC, go to the NFC North, the Chicago Bears.
Oh.
I really like this situation. Now, whether you're on the Justin Fields bandwagon or not, you still have a top 3 pick. You can find your quarterback there, or you keep Justin Fields and you build on what he doesn't have at the receiver and skill position. You have a solid defense. You got a pass rusher. You got linebackers. You got guys that can play in the secondary. It is up for grabs. Matt Eberflus has been told by Ryan Poles, you know what? We need to keep something intact. Well, now Bill Belichick is on the loose. None of that matters anymore. Matt, be ready to have your boxes, because if Bill wants to go there, he will be there.
Well, but because I think they're drafting Caleb, I would feel it's similar to
Are they?
what? Yes, they're drafting
Even
Caleb
Justin
Williams.
in Belichick's hands.
They're drafting Caleb, but I'm going to go with Philly. Philly's going to lose to Tampa. Now, my original sleeper team, if you remember, a few weeks ago was Tampa. If Tampa fired their coach. But Tampa's not going to fire Todd Bowles now after making the playoffs in a rebuilding year, winning the division again, and, by the way, winning a playoff game. Philly, on the other hand, if they lose this game, maybe they weren't leaning towards firing Sirianni. But if Belichick is available, I think they would reconsider it. And if you're Bill, what could he do with those 7 first-round picks on the defensive front? We know he can fix the secondary by just being there. Yep. And instead of having no wide receivers, you have 2 star receivers. It's a perfect spot for him.
Coming up next, the most motivational segment in all of sports. It's the Bug List. For Mike